What's up, you guys? Welcome back. Today, I'm super excited because we're gonna be doing an updated drugstore makeup starter kit. And obviously, I am barefaced right now, so not only am I gonna tell you my top products from the drugstore, but I'm also gonna show you how to use them because back to school time is here. So if you are going back to school and you wanna slay, you don't have to get a bunch of expensive makeup. You can go to the drugstore. This is literally everything you will need for a full routine. And even if you're not going back to school, I use all of these products like literally all the time. I'm 31 years old, so literally could work for anybody. So I'm super, super excited. These are all incredible products and everything's affordable. So make sure you guys subscribe to my channel if you have not already and click the little bell right next to the subscribe button so you can be notified of all my future uploads. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Alrighty, first things first, first category is gonna be primer. And I feel like if you go back, this has probably been in my drugstore starter kit video from the very beginning, but it is the L'Oreal Lumi Glotion. I absolutely love this. If you want something that's gonna give a beautiful glow to the skin, this is going to be your product. I've repurchased it literally a million times, and it's truly one of my top favorite products from the drugstore, like of all time. But you can use this as a primer underneath your makeup. I'm just gonna blend it out with a beauty sponge. You can also use it on its own if you want just like a very, very light coverage one day. Just something that's gonna give a slight tint to the skin with a little bit of glow. This will also work incredibly for that. So definitely a multi-use product. But how I like to use it is just putting it on my skin before I go in with foundation. Gives me a glow, gives me a little bit of a tint, kind of helps to match my skin a little bit better to my body, like the skin on my face. My face is typically always lighter and has just never let me down, has been a drugstore favorite of mine for a million years. So it's the best, comes in a couple different shades. I have shade medium here, but they have a lighter one, a darker one, and I think one other. I think there's 4 shades in total. So love, love, love that. Okay, moving into foundation. My new favorite drugstore foundation really has been this e.l.f. Soft Glam. This is beautiful. It's super long lasting. I feel like it could work for a variety of different skin types, whether you have dry skin or oily skin, because it's a satin finish. I'm using shade medium cool, so I'm just gonna go in and squeeze some out. Basically, it's like your skin, but better. And the satin finish is gonna give like a matte look to the skin, but it's not drying, and it lasts really well throughout the day. So I feel like that's super important. Like, we don't want something that we're gonna have to be touching up all the time that's gonna be looking crazy. This gives a great coverage and it lasts on the skin. So this came out not too long ago and I have been absolutely loving it. It's really, really wowed me. If you want to avoid a satin finish foundation, you're just not somebody that likes a more matte or satin finish, you want something that's a little bit more hydrating or like a natural finish, I would say check out the L'Oreal True Match foundation. That's another really great one. I also love the L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear, it's called. That's a beautiful foundation as well. Also gives a good coverage and is long lasting. But this new one from e.l.f. has been the one that I have been reaching for, and it's really, really good. Gives me coverage that's gonna last and doesn't dry out the skin. So what more can I really ask for? And another huge thing is that it is literally $8. So many drugstore foundations are so much more expensive now. Like, they're getting up to be like almost $20. It's like, okay, at this point we're like getting close to the high-end foundations, dang, but like this one's $8. So I really, really like it. Clearly my tan's fading a little bit because it's looking a little dark on me. It does have a big shade range, so there's a variety of different shades. I need to grab a shade later, I think. In the height of summer, this is working good for me, but I don't think so anymore. But y'all get the picture. Okay, for concealer, I love this one from Kokie. This is a very underrated favorite. I feel like I've never heard anybody talk about this, but this is the Kokie Double Time Full Cover Concealer. I'm going in with shade medium beige. I think the problem is Kokie is not that easy to find like in store. They used to like have their products at Walgreens, and I don't really think they have them anymore, at least not at mine. But you can get them on Amazon, like they literally ship next day. You can order them off of Walmart, I believe. Some Walmarts may have them in store. Or you can order directly from their website, which I think is the cheapest way to order it. I think it's like $10 on their website. It might be like $12 everywhere else. But this is incredibly full coverage. It's like very similar to Tarte Shape Tape. It has a more matte finish, but it's not gonna dry your under eyes out. But the coverage that this gives is crazy. It lasts really well. It doesn't get creasy, and I absolutely love it, better than basically any other drugstore concealer that I've tried. I think this was in my drugstore starter kit video last year, and it made it back again because it is absolutely fabulous. Blends super easily, is just a really great product. So I love that, and would definitely be my top recommendation for concealer from the drugstore. Okay, moving right along to liquid contour, or like contour stick. I love this one. High-end drugstore, no matter what. This is like one of the absolute best. I use this nearly every day. This is from ColourPop. It's their bronze stick. The one that I use is Moonstone Beach, but they come in quite a few different shades. I'm gonna apply this to the face, basically anywhere that you wanna contour. This is buttery, pigmented, very easily blendable. I know in the mornings, y'all don't have a lot of time and this blends out incredibly fast. Like, you don't wanna be standing there blending out your liquid contour. That's the last thing that we need to be doing. We just want something that's gonna blend into the skin and be able to go, which is exactly this product. But it doesn't blend away into nothing like some of them can. Like, it's all of a sudden it's like, wait, did I put anything on my face? It's still very pigmented and it does last well throughout the day. So I absolutely love this. You can find ColourPop at Ulta, at Target, and then they do obviously have their own website as well. You guys can use code Kelly on ColourPop's website, which will give you a discount, or obviously in store at those other places if you would prefer to shop there. All right, up next, we're gonna talk liquid blushes. So I had to put two options in this category because they're very different. They're both from e.l.f., but we have some for my girlies that want something that is super pigmented, because I feel like this year all we've seen is like the most pigmented liquid blushes of all time. These e.l.f. camo liquid blushes are incredibly pigmented. Like, they give the Rare Beauty ones a run for their money. But then we also have the OG e.l.f. putty blushes, which these are still pigmented, but they're not as crazy pigmented as these. They're a little bit more natural. So depending on what kind of look you want would be which one I would suggest to you. I'll show you how both look so you can see for yourself. So I'm gonna go in with the liquid blush in Pinky Promise on one side. Now you guys are gonna say, literally, I'm going in with the smallest amount because I'm telling you, this is very, very pigmented and that's gonna be more than enough for this cheek. So if you get one of these liquid blushes, they're gonna last you probably forever. Like, I don't know, it's gonna expire before you use all of it because you need to only use the tiniest amount, like even if you're using this every day. The color payoff is really, really nice on these. They do blend easily and they last. Now, you can definitely go in with more if you want a more bold blush, but then it can get very overwhelming quickly with these. I will say that. So less is more for sure. Then if you want something, like I said, a little bit lighter wash of color, I'm gonna go in with the e.l.f. Putty Blush. This is in the shade Bora Bora. And this gives a little bit of like a lighter kind of color. It's a little bit easier to control, but also really pretty. Both come in a bunch of different shades. You can get the putty blushes in a bunch of different shades, and you can get the liquid camo blushes in a bunch of different shades. So depending on if you want something more natural versus something more bold and pigmented would be which one I would recommend to you. I'm pretty sure they're like the same price too. They're both like about $8. And they do have a luminous version of the putty blush if you want something that has a little bit more of a glow to it, where the camo liquid blushes are a matte finish. They're not gonna have a glow or anything to them. So can't go wrong with either option. Okay, up next we have a Drugstore powder, and my favorite is the Maybelline Fit Me Loose Finishing Powder. I've loved this one for years and years. This is perfect to set the face. It is a tinted powder, so it does come in different shades, so it's gonna add a little bit extra coverage, which is nice, but it's not gonna dry out the skin. It's just gonna set everything and make sure that it lasts all day long and helps to just smooth over the skin as well. So I've always loved this. I'm pretty sure this was in my last Drugstore starter kit video. It is a fabulous product. All right, went ahead and did you guys in because we're gonna jump into eyes and the brows. So first for brows, my personal favorite from the Drugstore is the L'Oreal Brow Stylist Definer. You get a little spoolie on one side to get your brows all in place. CoverGirl also makes the micro brow, which I honestly think is like the same thing as this. There's no difference. So either one of them, just get whichever one's cheaper. Today, I'm gonna use the L'Oreal Brow Stylist Definer, and I'm using this in shade Ash Brown. So I'm just gonna use this to kind of line out my brows. I like to go in first with like a precise little pencil and line underneath my brows to give them a baseline. And then I'll go through with the spoolie and just kind of spoolie everything in place. Then I like to jump in with a brow gel. I've really been loving this new one from CoverGirl. This is their Clean Fresh Brow. It's just a clear brow gel. It has a tiny little spoolie, which really allows you to get in there and get every single little brow hair, which I love. So I'm just gonna run that through my brows and kind of fluff them up how I like them. Obviously you can do this to your preference, but just use it to get your brows in place. I'm gonna let that dry for a second. Once the brow gel has set, I personally like to go in with some sort of like tiny brow pen, but you could also definitely just go back in with the brow pencil. There's no need to buy a second product if you don't want to, but I like to just go in with the brow pen and fill in my brows with that. It gives a little bit more of like a natural look, and I just draw on tiny little brow strokes to help fill in any area where I have sparse brows. And I don't think I even said the name of the one that I'm using. This is the CoverGirl Easy Breezy Brow 24-hour brow ink pen. But again, like I said, you could also just as easily go back in with that pencil that we used and feather in the brow strokes that way if you wanted to do it like that. Okay, up next we're gonna jump into eyeshadow palettes. So this one, hands down, I have always thought ColourPop makes the best affordable eyeshadow palettes. They have 7 million different palettes. You can find them again on their website or at Ulta and at Target. They have like various palettes across all of those different places. I'm just gonna use one of their newer ones. This is the Golden Hour palette. I've been loving this recently. But one thing about ColourPop that I really, really love is all of their palettes are very consistent. So it's not like you're gonna get one palette and it's gonna be like super blendable, pigmented, and great. And then the next one you get is gonna be like patchy, not so pigmented, not so great. So really just go and look at their website and see like which color palette resonates best with you. Do you like warm tone neutrals? Do you like cool tone neutrals? Do you want something with a lot of color? They have everything on there and all different palettes, so you can find whatever suited best to you color-wise. But their palettes, in my opinion, are the best. So I'm gonna go in with the shade Scenic Drive first. This is like a cool light brown. I'm just gonna pop that in the crease as a neutral transition. This palette from them is perfect if you like more golden sort of shades. It's very like golden kind of color story, which is some of my personal favorite. Their Stone Cold Fox is also really nice. That one is if you like more like cool tones, a beautiful option. Next, I'm gonna go in with Never Leaving. A little bit of a darker shade, again, popping that in the crease to just kind of build up some depth and dimension there. Then I'm gonna go with Views, like a warm kind of caramel, and pop that in the outer corners to give it a little depth. And this can obviously be like molded, you know, if you're going to school, you might just wanna put like a little color in your crease and call it a day. But then if you want to do something more for like a nighttime look, smoke it out a little bit more, you could definitely do this. But I definitely wore like smoky eyes like this to school every day. So, you know, your own personal preference and whatever you got going on, do you. Then I'm going to go in with Honey Dipped. This is one of the lighter shades in the palette. I'm going to put this all over the lid. How pretty is this shimmer? That's another thing that I like about almost most of ColourPop's palettes. They have a few that are just all mattes, but most of their palettes contain a mix of both mattes and shimmers, which I feel like to create a cohesive look is really your best option. So you only need one palette. So they do a good job at, you know, making sure that you're not gonna have to grab from like 5 different palettes to get the kind of look that you want, and you'll have options in your palette. For highlight, I'm gonna jump in with Glimmer. This is the lightest shade in the palette. I'm gonna pop that in the inner corners and right beneath the brow bone. And then I'm gonna jump in with a little bit of 7 p.m. This is the darkest shade in the palette. I'm just placing that on the lower lash line, like so. And then I'm gonna go back in with the shade Views and just use that to kind of buff and blend it out so it's not super harsh underneath the eyes. And that is that on the eyeshadow. Love it, but again, like I said, they have so many different options. If you don't want like more golds, you can't go wrong with any of their palettes, truly. Okay, up next we have mascara. Now, if y'all have watched pretty much any of my videos, you could have already guessed, but it is the Milani Anti-Gravity. I love this stuff. Best mascara ever in my opinion, so just gonna go in and pop this on my lashes. Did I just get some on my face? Yes, I did. Lovely, okay. We'll work on getting that off in a second. But this mascara gives the perfect mix of volume, length, and curl to the lashes. So it really is gonna give you everything. And it just works so fabulously. So I love it. They did recently just come out with a waterproof version too. If you like waterproof mascara, I normally just use their regular version because it's easier to remove. But they do have a waterproof version now. They didn't for quite some time, so exciting for my waterproof girlies. But that's literally just like 2 coats on each of my eyes. Like it does such a good job. I'm gonna apply a little to the lower lash line too. Okay, mascara is done. Now I realized I forgot to mention liner. Normally I do liner before mascara, but it's okay if you do it a little bit out of order. My favorite liner is also from ColourPop. These are their cream gel liners. They have these in a bunch of different shades, but my personal favorite is Honey Dude. It's like a cream, and I like to just put this in my waterline. It really helps to open up the eye, but it's not like as bold as like a stark white. They do have a white liner too, which is in the shade Exit. Also really pretty. This one, since it's cream, is like a little bit more natural, I guess I would say. But if you want something even brighter, they have the white and Exit, or again, they have black, brown, green, blue, like all the colors as well. But this one's just my personal fave, and it lasts really well, even in the waterline. Okay, now let's jump into some of my favorite face powders from the drugstore. We're gonna start with bronzer, and I have been loving the NYX Buttermelt. This is so good. I have this in shade Butter Biscuit. You can use this as a bronzer, contour, or both. I kind of use it as both. It's a very like warm toned bronzer, so it gives like a bronzy kind of look to the skin, like you just left the beach, but it doesn't have like shimmer in it or anything like that, so you can use it to sculpt the face. So I kind of like bronzer with it and contour / bronze and just use this as that product. But this does come in a variety of different shades as well, has a light but like nice scent to it, blends really well, and is just very very pretty. I personally just love this shade. I realized that I forgot to get that mascara off of my face, so let's see if we can kind of get it off a little bit with some powder. Not really. All right, that looks a little bit better, I think. But love this bronzer, so good. They've been like sold out everywhere, so if you want it, hop on there. I also do really like their new Buttermelt blushes too. Those are beautiful, but my personal fave are the ColourPop powder blushes. This one in the shade Papaya has been a favorite of mine for literally ever since it came out, like for over a year now. They have a bunch of different shades though in their powder blushes, but this one is just so beautiful and like my everyday go-to because it gives the prettiest pop to the cheeks, super pigmented, and I just love it. So this is my personal fave pick. And then for highlight for everyone that wants to glow, we have the Wet n Wild Hello Halo Blush Lighter Duos. I'm pretty sure this was in my Drugstore makeup starter kit also the last time. Wet n Wild, personally, in my opinion, makes the best highlights from the drugstore. And I love these blush lighter duos because you get 2 highlights. And I normally just put my brush in both and they give the most stunning glow to the skin. And they're like $4 for 2 highlighters. Like, absolutely love it. You can't go wrong with this. All right, now to finish off the lips for lip liners, I love these Hard Candy lip liners. These are the Hard Candy Insta Pout lip liners. So there's like a lip liner on one side, then a little brush on the other. I'm gonna go in with the shade Boyfriend. These come in a bunch of different shades. This one is like a neutral kind of brown. And you can find these at Walmart, but they're creamy and pigmented. And once I line my lips with this, I like to go in with the brush on the other side and just kind of blend out so that we don't have any harsh lines. I just kind of blend it in a little bit. And then you can jump in with the lipstick of your choice. Now, for my favorite lipstick, I have to give you guys 2 because I literally can't pick in between. They're both so good. You can't go wrong with either. It's either the e.l.f. O-Face Satin Lipsticks or the Milani Color Fetish Lipsticks. So the Milani Color Fetish, I love them in the shade Pleasure. There's actually a lot of shades in both of these that I love, but I'm just gonna show you my 2 faves. So this is the Milani. They're both a more matte lipstick, which is what I prefer because it's gonna be the most long lasting, but they're not drying to the lips. So they're gonna last, give you good pigment, but they're not gonna dry the lips out. And then if you wanna add a glow, you can go on top with a gloss, which obviously I'll show you favorite glosses too. And in the e.l.f. O-Face Satin Lipsticks, my personal favorite shade is Dirty Talk. It's honestly so similar. Like, I love them both, so I had to include both of them. The e.l.f. is a little bit lighter and a little bit more pink, where the Milani is a little bit more brown, but you can't go wrong with either. They're both absolutely fabulous, so wanted to recommend both of them. Whichever one you can easily find that's a little bit cheaper wherever you're purchasing it, because I think they're roughly around the same price point, would be the one that I would say to get, but I'm gonna just mix them together for now. And then for lip gloss, I have 2. So I have one for my people that want a plumping lip gloss and then one that just wants something that's gonna give us a glossy glow. So if you want plumping, these NYX Duck Plump lip glosses are really nice. This one is in the shade Nude Swings. One thing with these 2 is they're very pigmented, so you actually don't even need a lip gloss or anything underneath these because they have a ton of pigment on their own, but they give a pretty juicy kind of glossy glow to the lips and they are plumping. So they will give you like that stingy kind of plumpy feeling, but it takes like maybe 5 minutes to kind of set in. But I do really like these. Or if you just want something that's gonna give you gloss and glow, I love the Maybelline Lifter glosses. My personal favorite is in the shade Moon, and I'll show you just what that looks like. This one does have glitter in it, but it's not gonna feel gritty or anything at all. It's not plumping, so it's not gonna like burn the lips or anything like that. Just give you a glossy glow depending on what you prefer. You can't go wrong, again, with either. And then last but not least, we have setting spray, and my personal favorite is the newer. This is the e.l.f. Power Grip Dewy Setting Spray. Just gonna shake this up and spritz it on. Super light mister, and is gonna help to set everything in place throughout the day. Definitely feels a bit hydrating. I don't really think it makes the skin dewy or glowy, just feels hydrating going on, but if the word dewy kind of scares you and you don't want that, you want something that's just gonna give you like a natural finish, I really like the Milani Make It Last setting spray as well. This is also really good. Both are fabulous options. So yeah, that is everything, you guys. I will list all of the products used down below so you guys can check there. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye.